I, 26 female, used to date Tom, 27 male, for 3 years. We broke up 2 years ago when Tom came out as gay. It was a tough time for me, but I eventually moved on. Or so I thought. Fast forward to 6 months ago when my brother, James, 29, announced his engagement to Tom. Apparently, they started seeing each other shortly after Tom and I broke up. When I first heard it, I was in shock. I felt a mix of betrayal, hurt, and confusion. James and Tom are now getting married, and my family is fully supportive. They've always favored James because he's the firstborn son, and frankly, the golden child. I've always felt like the second fiddle, and this situation just seems to cement that feeling. I told my family I wouldn't be attending the wedding. I can't stand the thought of watching my brother marry my ex, someone I once loved deeply. My parents are furious with me, accused of being selfish and unsupportive. They say I should be happy for James and that I'm causing unnecessary drama. James confronted me, saying he loves Tom and hopes I can put our past aside for his sake. He claims it's unfair of me to punish him for something beyond his control, but I can't shake the feeling of betrayal. I think it's incredibly insensitive of both him and Tom to expect me to be okay with this. Now the entire family is at odds. My parents have threatened to cut me off financially if I don't attend, and some relatives are siding with them. I'm feeling isolated and unsure if I'm handling this correctly. Not the idiot. This is uncomfortable. They want you there so they can pretend all is well. But if you've dated for 3 years, it's normal that your feelings are complex. Stay away. Someone dating 2 siblings sequentially is always awkward. I'm sorry this happened to you. That's not family. That's a crap show. And it's best to step back to avoid getting stinky. And I get the feeling that there was a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge going on whenever she brought Tom home. The fact that they hid the relationship until they got engaged is proof enough that they knew what they were doing too. I would like to know if Tom told her he was bi, or if he was using her as a beard, or to get close to bro. Punished for something beyond his control. James could have easily controlled himself and not dated Tom straight after you broke up. Tom is not the only fish in the sea, but out of the many gay men out there who've never broken his sister's heart, James had to pick him? Nice. No, James. You knew darn well what you were doing. I find the situation gross. I would never, ever date someone my sisters or brother dated. Oh, they fell in love? Blah! How did the brother fall in love with someone who broke his sister's heart? Why was he spending any time with him at all? Did your parents know that they were dating? To be honest, the whole deceit and then pressure would make me go scorched earth and cut your family off. They don't deserve you. Yep, and parade her around and say, see, he and her son were meant to be together, and our daughter's ecstatic to have Tom as her new brother-in-law. There'll be annual Christmas cards with everyone's picture on them, all smiley and happy. Yeah, I don't get these parents. The son is obviously their favorite. Go make your own family of people who care about you. If there are some family who support you, start there. Attending this wedding is not a reasonable expectation. My husband and I are vegan, and so is our son, Tween. Both of our immediate families are too. His friend's mom does know this. We dropped him off for a play date, even though that sounds weird to say for a tween. Mom, I guess we'll call her Abby, takes my son, her son, and her 2 younger kids to the park. When they were leaving, and the kids were all getting into the car, a guy approached Abby with, I'm not entirely sure what I'm able to put on here, but something you wouldn't want to be pointed at you, even if you weren't with your children. Abby put herself between this guy and the kids. Someone else in the park saw, and the guy got scared off. So Abby goes home in what I'm assuming is an adrenaline rush, and when she gets there, she sends the kids inside, and she stays outside for a few minutes to compose herself. Now, Abby's younger brother lives with her husband, and their kids. And when Abby's kids asked if they could have ice cream, her brother said yes. They all, plus my son, get ice cream. Abby comes in and sees my son has finished the ice cream, and there's not much she can do about it now. When I picked him up, she immediately apologized and said she knew we were vegan, but she never told her brother because she's almost always the one that's giving her kids food, and explaining the entire day. I tell her that it's fine, I get it, it's okay. I can't imagine that happening and where my head would be. So I went home with my son and we had dinner with my in-laws that night at a restaurant. After I picked him up, my son mentioned that he liked the ice cream, which prompted me to tell my in-laws and my husband the whole story. They all think it was disrespectful for Abby not to make his diet known to everyone who would be around him. I told them I'm just glad everything is fine. I'm genuinely not concerned my son ate dairy one time. It's not even like Abby gave it to him. Abby was probably outside crying over what just happened, and her brother had no idea that my son didn't eat dairy. But everyone thinks I should be a lot more upset about it than I am. Nobody's called me an idiot specifically, but my husband doesn't want our son to be at Abby's house anymore. I think it's unfair because Abby's always been so great, and her son is the sweetest kid I could ever ask for my son to be friends with. Edit. In case it matters, Abby's 30 and so am I. Her brother's around 19, I think. Are your husband and family for real? The woman put herself in harm's way to protect your child, and they're focusing on the ice cream? They sound like vegan cranks. Not to mention, the kid is a tween. He could have spoken up himself. The kid's gonna go nuts in college with free access to chicken nuggets, LOL. To the actual post, of course it's not the idiot. Your kid was offered ice cream and he accepted. While he is still a kid, he is growing to an age where there'll be less tiptoeing around his diet, and the onus is on him to speak up. There was no harm. Son's not allergic to dairy. His life was not in danger from the ice cream. I would ask, was harm done? Once they admit the only harm was not respecting your son's diet, I'd then ask, how likely is it that this disrespect will happen again? You are the idiot, possibly for forcing this vegan lifestyle on your son. He said he liked ice cream, and instead of supporting his autonomy to choose his own diet, the family flipped out and wanted to ban him from seeing his friend again? That is not healthy. Does your son even want to be vegan? Or is that the only option you've given him? How would you and the family handle that if he's with a friend and wants to get ice cream of his own free will? I highly doubt your kid is vegan by choice. I am really quite hurt and offended about this whole situation. It's been about a week and my husband refuses to give me an apology. So I, female 25, really enjoy reading. It started with Harry Potter when I was a kid, and then I just never stopped. LOL. My husband, 33, knows this. So a couple of weeks ago, he was at the store and saw a stuffed animal that looked like a little dragon from a book series I liked. He obviously bought it for me. I thought it was cute and had been sitting in our bed for a while. My husband asked me why I didn't want to put it on my bookshelf, but I said because I wanted to see it. Last week, my husband was taking work calls really late, and I fell asleep before him. Unconsciously, I was lying with the dragon tucked in close to me, cuddling it to my chest while I slept. I wasn't even holding the stuffed animal when I fell asleep. I didn't mean to do it. When my husband came in to go to bed, apparently, he didn't like that and snatched it from my arms as I was sleeping. This obviously startled me, and then he immediately started to scold me. I didn't even know what he was talking about, and I realized that he ripped my earring out from snatching the dragon. I was literally bleeding. The earring bag just scratched me. It didn't rip my piercing or anything, but it still hurt. He told me it was weird to sleep with stuffed animals as an adult and threw the thing on my bookshelf. I have no idea why this made him so mad, but he refuses to apologize, even for ripping my earring out. I don't feel like I'm asking too much by asking him to apologize. Am I? Not the idiot. Plenty of adults still own stuffed animals, including me. The fact that he yanked it hard enough to rip out your earring says a lot. Stuffed animals are a great comfort to people, and he's the one that bought it for you. So why get so upset that you love it so much? Classic insecure and controlling partner. He can't handle her showing affection to anything but him. Imagine having kids with him. No way. OP, I feel really bad for you. This is not loving behavior. You don't need an apology. I think you need a new place to live, far away from him. Hugs. My husband and I have been together for 8 years now. I have 2 sons from my previous marriage, a young teen, and a tween, and I just gave birth to me and my husband's daughter a few months ago. Prior to me giving birth and even a few weeks following, our home life was great. We often had friends telling us they wish they could find someone that made them as happy as he and I made each other. There were hardly ever disagreements. Our communication was solid. He was fantastic with my boys, attending every parent-teacher conference, doctor's appointment, school event, etc., and taking them out often to play baseball and basketball. This all changed, maybe 2 to 3 weeks after I gave birth. He turned angry, depressed, and impatient. The kids and I started having to walk on eggshells constantly. He became lazy. He stopped cleaning up after himself or helping around the house, yet still uses sentences to my kids, such as, "You guys need to pick up after yourself. Me and your mother shouldn't have to follow you around and clean up your messes," when he never cleaned at all. I couldn't even get him to wash his own dinner plate without him having a meltdown, basically. Every day, he was just angry. If one thing went wrong, like him not being able to find something he set down somewhere, which became an everyday event, he was freaking out, saying things like, "Yep, awesome. So glad life wants to screw me over." Or, "Why the heck does this always happen to me? Can't I just have a good darn day for once?" But he always made it a me and the kids problem. If he lost something, it didn't matter what time of day it was. He was 100% flipping out and expecting me to find it for him. I even told him my oldest son had to go to the ER because he had a bad rash, and he said, "Have your mom take him," because he was using my vehicle. Or the other day, my mood was soured due to his early morning freakout, which put me on a rough route. I was exhausted, running on 3 hours of sleep, and he rushed me out of the house to go do his errands with him. I didn't even get out of the car, so it was pointless, and then got angry and screamed, "What the heck is your problem? Can't we just have a good day for once?" As if I'm the reason his life sucks. And this is not the man I married. So last night around 11:30 p.m., he started freaking out again. He lost an important item he needed for work. He started slamming things around our bedroom, repeatedly saying things like, "Wow, great, darn, awesome, darn, love it," until I got up and started helping him look. As soon as I got up out of bed, he stops looking and just walks behind me, holding his phone flashlight. We can't find it. He doesn't go to work as a result, another trait he's gotten since giving birth. He calls out over the wind blowing wrong. I lay back down. He practically body slams in the bed next to me. He starts huffing and puffing, heavy sighing, growling, while practically clawing at his face, talking about how stupid this life is. I asked him to stop and he said, "Screw you." So I tell him I'm done, I'm leaving, and that me and my children's crap will be out of the home by today. He says, "Whatever," and then goes to sleep. I wake up at 5 a.m. and start packing. He comes out around 7, asking what I'm doing, and I tell him again that I'm done and I'm leaving. He says I'm leaving him in his time of need, and he would never do that to me. But he kinda did, because I was diagnosed with PPD not even 4 days after giving birth, and he completely overrode it and made it about him and how much his life sucks. X, I know you're feeling some type of way, but I have crap going on too. No one asks me how the heck I am. Or literally making passive-aggressive comments like, "Wish I could sleep all day," when I was 6 days postpartum after I fell asleep on the couch. He does no nighttime duty. As I said, he says I'm leaving him in his time of need and that I should have urged him to get therapy instead of walking away. But his anger's made me hate him. I don't even want to be near him. I've tried talking to him about this. It's an immediate blame shift the second I bring up anything bothering me. He says I'm attacking him. Am I the idiot for telling my husband I'm leaving him? Not the idiot. There's no good time to tell someone it's over, so you might as well get it over with. He's way too old to be acting that way. It's so fascinating to me that some men go insane after their first kid is born. I'm very sorry that this happened to you. Hopefully he will eventually get help or chill out and become a decent human. His time of need? When you just had a baby? Nope, Honey, you should have left long ago. You're letting this loser show your boys this type of behavior is okay. He's abusive, pure and simple, and it'll get worse and worse as time goes on. Leave and don't go back. I wish we could hear from the teenager in this house to get a sense of if stepdad was perfect before. But really, it's no matter. The guy's a nightmare now and a danger to the kids. So you need to leave. Everything else is secondary to the safety and security of the kids in this home, who didn't ask for any of this and deserve not to live in this environment. You're best free of him. My wife had an affair several years ago. I found out because her phone data use suddenly skyrocketed. I investigated, saw the number on the bill, and figured out it was her ex. She denied it, of course, which eventually led me to snooping on her phone. She had tried to cover her tracks, but she didn't delete text messages to her best friend, describing everything, bragging about it, etc. Her friend was sometimes supportive, even encouraging her to continue the affair. We've reconciled since then, and things are pretty okay between us. However, I'm still very angry towards her friend, partly for encouraging her to do what she did instead of telling her to do the right thing. I think partly because her messages with her friend were the vehicle that delivered so much pain and torment to me. Even now, seeing her friend or hearing her name makes me think of the affair. Her friend is getting married in a few months and she's the maid of honor. I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety surrounding the thought of having to attend. Finally, I decided that I needed to protect myself. I would be miserable the entire time, and the idea of celebrating the marriage of a person who, at the very least, severely disrespected mine feels disgusting. She became pretty upset when I told my wife I had decided I wouldn't go. She said she was hurt, but it felt more like anger to me. She basically shut down after that and hasn't talked to me. I explained my reasoning, my feelings, etc., but she kind of blew me off. I don't feel like the villain. For one, I didn't ask to feel this way. Her actions put me here. 2, she's the one who implicated her friends in the affair. If she hadn't done that, it wouldn't even be an issue. Also, I didn't imply that she couldn't or shouldn't go. I even encouraged her to attend and be a part of it, and offered to drive her to and from. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but dude, it's not her friend that you're really angry with. It's your wife. You haven't fully reconciled what she did to you. And deep down, things are not pretty okay with your relationship. It's not her friend that disrespected your marriage. It was your wife that did that to you. Her audacity to be angry at you sounds like you're the only one trying for reconciliation. Instead, wouldn't you put all this time and work towards finding someone who respects your feelings? Precisely, OP. I say you tell your unfaithful spouse, BS. The fact she's angry at you reveals how worthless she is. She obviously bears no remorse concerning her affair, minimizing, no, worse yet, completely unconcerned and uncaring as to its impact upon you. A genuinely remorseful spouse would have moved on from this friend who actively participated in encouraging her to cheat on you. Instead, your wife is her maid of honor. There's no regret in either of them. The therapy you need to figure out is what the heck you're still doing with this woman, hoping your eyes open and you move on. My petty brain says, go to the wedding, and when congratulating the couple, just say to the groom, good luck with this one. She thinks that cheating on spouses is no big deal. Then turn to your wife and say, right, honey? You cover for her like she did for you, no? I'd say it in a speech or just flyby comment to the groom. Blame it on the alcohol. Have one beer, LOL, then file for divorce.